Namaskar. In Jammu and Kashmir, the operational chief of the Hizbul Mujahideen, Riyaz Naikoo, and his associate were killed in an encounter with a joint team of the police, army and Central Reserve Police Force at Begpora in South Kashmir's Pulwama. Now, according to the official sources, the team had police, armies, 55 Rashtriya Rifles as well as the CRPF, and they had launched a search operation in Begpora in that area where Naikoo's hometown is. They did so last night and they zeroed in on a house, and they were then fired upon by terrorists from within. That triggered an encounter, and the two terrorists, including Naikoo and his aide Adil, were killed. So the slain Hizbul commander had a bounty of 12 lakh rupees on his head. Two other terrorists were also killed in another encounter with security forces in Sharshali area of Avantipora. Now, this major success of the armed forces is going to be our focus tonight here on Newsnight. Let's begin with the headlines. In a major success for the security forces, the dreaded Hizbul Mujahideen terrorist Riyaz Naikoo has gone down in an encounter along with his aide in Begpora and Pulwama of Jammu and Kashmir. Two more terrorists killed in security forces in Sharshali Crew. The Indian Railways runs over 122 trains to facilitate the movement of migrant workers in various parts of the country. Shramik Express trains bringing stranded people back to their native places in consonance with the social distancing and other safety measures. The mega evacuation exercise Vande Bharat mission to kick off tomorrow. The initiative aims at bringing back almost 15,000 Indians who are stranded abroad due to COVID-19 situation. On day one, 10 flights to bring home about 2,300 passengers. Financial assistance of almost 35,000 crore rupees is dispersed under the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana. Up to the 5th of May, around 39 crore poor people have benefited so far. Team Arogya Setu assures that there's no security vulnerability in the contact tracing app and says that systems are being continuously tested and upgraded. Personal information is not at risk. Arogya Setu IVRS service also launched, useful for non-smartphone users. The Bharatiya Janata Party lashes out at the Congress Party for indulging in politics over the COVID-19 pandemic. The party leader Shah Nawaz Hussain says that at a time when the whole country is fighting against COVID-19, the Congress leaders are engaged in politicizing the issue. The total active cases of COVID-19 in India stand at 33,514. 14,182 people have been discharged after treatment. 1,694 have died. And the global coronavirus cases have reached close to 37 lakhs. More than 2,58,000 deaths have been reported so far. The United States has reported more than 12 lakh people infected with COVID-19 and more than 71,000 fatalities. Well, the de facto chief of the Hizbul Mujahideen, Riyaz Naikoo, was eliminated by security forces in his village in Pulwama district. He has been on the run now for 8 years. Mobile phone services of private operators and mobile internet services across the valley have been suspended. There were two separate encounters in which 4 terrorists were killed. One in Sharshali Crew village, where 2 unidentified terrorists were killed, and the other in Begpora in Avantipur, where Naikoo and his accomplice were eliminated. The gunning down of Naikoo is a major breakthrough in the fight against terrorism. It comes 3 days after 8 security personnel, including 2 army officers, Colonel Ashutosh Sharma and late Major Anuj Sood, were killed in Handwara. The 35-year-old Naikoo carried a reward of 12 lakh rupees on his head. So let's try and put this into perspective with a little bit of, with some background. We know that there have been lots of terrorists who have been killed in the valley since 2016. We remember that was the time that Burhan Wani was killed. Burhan Wani was involved in using social media to try and instigate and bring a lot of people into, to misguide them. And we can see that he was first killed in 2016. Burhan Wani, Hizbul Mujahideen's poster boy, was shot dead by security forces in July of 2016, along with 2 accomplices in Kokarnag area. That was about 83 kilometers from Srinagar. This happened way back in 2016. Sabsar Ahmed Butt was killed in Tral area of Srinagar on 27th May 2017, but had succeeded Burhan Wani as the commander of Hizbul Mujahideen at the time. So he was quickly eliminated. Junaid Mattu was a top Lashkar. Now we're talking about Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed. So a top Lashkar commander, Mattu, and his accomplice Muzammil were killed in an encounter with security forces in Bijbihara in Anantnag. This happened also in June of 2017. So, well, also there is Bashir Lashkari. Now, Lashkari belonged to the Lashkar-e-Taiba with a bounty of 10 lakh rupees on his head. He was killed on the 1st of July 2017 in Anantnag and was the mastermind, in fact, of the murder of 6 policemen, including Firoz Dar, which had happened just a few weeks earlier. Sajad Ahmed Gilkar, Hizbul Mujahideen, had been killed on the 12th of July 2017 along with 2 associates, Javed Sheikh and Dawood Gilkar. So this is not the first time that this has happened. As we can see, there's been a constant, a constant process. There's been a zero tolerance policy towards terrorism, and we've seen that those who take up the gun have been forced, have to end their lives with them as well. Now, moving on, we can see that Abu Dujana, most wanted LET militant or terrorist, was killed along with another terrorist in Pulwama in July of 2018. He was a master of disguise, in fact, and had managed to slip past the government forces on many occasions. And Zakir Musa was killed in May of 2019 in Tral in Pulwama, was also the chief of Al-Qaeda's Kashmir cell. So Zakir Musa actually had broken away from Hizbul Mujahideen. Latif Tiger was eliminated in May of 2019. Latif Dar was a key associate of Burhan Wani, was on the list of the 10 most wanted terrorists in May of 2018. And on that list was also Riyaz Naikoo, who was killed today. So Riyaz Naikoo was killed by security forces on May 6th, 2020. Most wanted Hizbul chief was trapped in his native Begpura village of Pulwama. Naikoo, as we said, carried a reward of 12 lakh rupees on his head. And we can see that this is, towards the end, we can see there have been a number of eliminations that have taken place. More than 50 terrorists have been killed in counter-terrorism operations this year itself. And among them, we've seen the LET's Muzaffar Ahmed Butt, JEM's Qari Yasir, Abu Qasim, Sajad Nawab Dhar, Hizbul Mujahideen's Harun Wani. So there was a large list of about 50 terrorists who have been killed this year itself, and 102 terrorists have been arrested, and 10 have also surrendered during this year. So the armed forces, the security forces, have had major success in eliminating of terrorists in Jammu and Kashmir, also containing the spread of this kind of an unusual message that doesn't fit in with the modern day, that the people have been trying to, in parts of South Kashmir, have been trying to spread, largely people like Riyaz Naikoo and others. So in focus tonight is going to be this: major success against terrorism in Kashmir. That's going to be our focus tonight. Major success against terrorism in Kashmir. And joining us in this discussion, we have 2 eminent guests. We have with us, we saw them on the screen just now once again. Yes, General Atta Hasnain, former Corps Commander in Kashmir, and Alok Bansal, Director of the India Foundation. Thanks very much, gentlemen, for being with us. We'll start with you, General Hasnain. So you obviously know the whole area very well. South Kashmir has been an area where, you know, there has been some sort of a campaign by people after Burhan Wani to try and utilize social media to try and get people involved. You know, much against what popular belief would have, because generally the opinion is that all this is getting you nowhere. This kind of an attitude, if you pick up the gun, you're bound to be killed with it. But still, there was some sort of a movement in that direction, and we can see that, you know, finally here, Riyaz Naikoo himself has been killed. So how would you evaluate, you know, the fact that I've read a whole list of terrorists who've been killed, and it clearly sends out a signal that those who take up the gun will be killed by it.
Thank you. I think you've done some excellent research to give out all those names. I may like to add one or two names, because most of the names that you have brought out are primarily those who have been killed in the last 5 or 7 years, in fact less than 7 years. I can recall going back to people like Shabbir Baduri, who stayed for 10 years in Anantnag and Beach Bihara. I can recall Abdullah Unni in the area of Sopore, a Pakistani terrorist for over 10 years, who was eliminated when I was the corps commander, I remember. I remember Engineer Zama from the earlier years in the 90s, and then Arif Khan. I mean, there have been a range of terrorists and great personalities among them, so-called great personalities, but they've all been eliminated at some stage or the other. They eventually meet their destiny. The issue here is, ultimately, it has to be a combination of good intelligence and smart, fast responses. The combination of these two. Your intelligence primarily comes from the police resources or police sources. The Special Operations Group of the Jammu and Kashmir Police is one of the finest intelligence gatherers anywhere in the world. And to respond to that is the Rashtra Rifles, mostly in South Kashmir, who have got all their drills in place. The coordination between the SOG and the Rashtra Rifles has been superb. And in the last 7-8 years, the entry of the CRPF, in combined with them, no one actually gives CRPF the kind of credit that they deserve, because most people do not realize that in most of these high-profile events, there is always the threat of a mob developing there, a flash mob coming up, women and children being placed in front, stone throwing commencing to try and disrupt the operation of the security forces. And it is the CRPF which bears the brunt of this completely. Right. So it's a great ticking machine, these three forces coming together in the quickest possible time and carrying out these operations. Social media, which you have spoken about, is a very, very important aspect. This is the new generation terrorism which has started since 2013 or so. Social media really came into Kashmir in 2011, and within 2 years, its development was absolutely quick. And the exploitation by Burhan Wani, it went in to help in motivation and recruitment. The other aspect of recruitment which comes in here is the aspect of the symbolism connected with the public funerals. Thankfully, we learn now that besides the foreign terrorist funerals, even the local terrorist funerals have now been done away with. Bodies of terrorists such as Riyaz Naikoo will be buried now in some inconsequent place up in Baramulla or Uri or someplace like that. So these are all innovations which are coming about, decisions which could have been taken much earlier, but every decision has its time. I wish to compliment the security forces on a fantastic achievement today.
Absolutely. Alok Bansal, you know, this also comes at a time when the world is going through this period of COVID, and there was a feeling maybe the enemy thought that, you know, the security forces are letting their guard down, but that was not happening at all, isn't it? Nobody is letting any guard down, and this is a clear message to forces that are inimical to India and India's interests that, you know, despite this time, which is a trying time for our country, when we are in a lockdown state, security forces are being used elsewhere as well in terms of, you know, the COVID challenge. Nothing like this. Yes, go ahead, sir.
Well, as far as Pakistan is concerned, ISI is concerned, which is actually the mastermind behind all these terrorists.
Obviously.
They have been trying to push this sort of activities ever since COVID-19 has struck the world, because they felt that the attention of the security forces would be diverted, there'll be laxity in the security. And we saw what happened just a few days back when 5 security personnel were killed in an encounter where they were trying to save civilians who had been taken hostages by these militants. In fact, we lost two of our gallant officers there, Colonel Ashutosh Sharma and Major Anuj Sood, along with two army personnel and one officer of the Jammu Kashmir police. So this is showing that. But killing of Riyaz Naikoo is a very, very big achievement, because Riyaz Naikoo, after Burhan Wani, was the poster boy of militancy. He was the operational head of Hizbul Mujahideen. He was a localite, educated chap, articulate person who could articulate, who could speak. And he was what you could call was to a very great extent driving. And it is these people like these who were trying to get new people to join up with militancy. And I think his elimination, his survival for so long was probably an incentive. And his elimination now actually tells the youth of Jammu and Kashmir that this path is fraught with no success. This is actually a dangerous path where your survivability is extremely low. I think this would dissuade people, because at a time when all the facilities are being given to Jammu and Kashmir, opportunities are being opened for the youth of Jammu and Kashmir, his elimination is a very, very important facet, because it not only shows the success of the security forces, because if you look, as I said, in last 5-7 years, every major terrorist has been eliminated. And as I said, Riyaz Naikoo was one of the longest surviving terrorists, and his elimination to that extent goes to disincentivize, demoralize the militants of Hizbul Mujahideen, which is considered to be an indigenous group. Hizbul Mujahideen by tradition is an indigenous group. So Hizbul Mujahideen being demoralized is a very, very important facet.
Right. But General Hasnain, you know, the fact that Riyaz Naikoo is an educated man, he was a mathematician, you know, and well, I suppose that, you know, a lot of people can be brainwashed and got away. But this whole business of people who could have, you know, had a decent life and taking up something like this, which is absolutely no, as you know, Mr. Alok Bansal said, if you take up the gun, you're going to perish with this. There's no way forward with this kind of an ideology or any way of moving anything. But you know, a lot of educated people were taking it up. What kind of message, you know, does the elimination of people like this give to the society in general?
You see, this has been a trend internationally around the world as a part of New Age terrorism. If you see the Islamic State, many of the 40,000 fighters who gravitated to Syria and northern Iraq were actually very well educated people who were all you know, linked up through the internet, attracted to the IS ideology, despite the fact that they otherwise were extremely well off. Many of them were well off. They were well educated. It has been a trend for the last about 7, 8, 10 years. Riyaz Naikoo, I think, fell into the same kind of a category, because somewhere down the line you require some inspiration. And much of this inspiration actually also comes from radicalism. And the introduction of radicalism in the valley has been there for quite some time. We find the manifestation of that in many quarters in Kashmir. In fact, many of the mosques have changed hands as far as the good old Sufis, from the good old Sufiyat to the new age radical Islam. So all this has also had an influence on many of the educated people. And as a result of that, many of them have come into the ranks of the terrorists. This elimination, this neutralization of a high-profile terrorist such as Riyaz Naikoo should hopefully send a very strong message. Your viewers will be very happy to learn that I am getting a feedback on my Twitter feed, for example, on my social media feed, right from Kashmir. A lot of people who are expressing their satisfaction that this leader has come to an end. Because a lot of people were fearing that people existing of this character can only enhance their terror in Kashmir. Mostly what has happened is that since the 5th of August last year, people are generally turned quiet. Lots of people are turning towards the government, towards India, not wishing to express it openly. These are the kind of events which will actually inspire them, that the government and the security forces, etc., are gaining the upper hand, have gained the upper hand completely, and that it's a matter of time before terrorism and the Pakistani influence in Kashmir is completely weeded out. It's from that you'll find greater inspiration for the youth of Kashmir. And hopefully this event will be the beginning of that.
Absolutely. Mr. Bansal, let's try and understand, that these people had some sort of an influence only in certain areas. Pulwama was one of them, Kulgam, Anantnag, Shopian. So with this kind of a policy to try, with the zero tolerance policy, the elimination of people involved with taking up the gun, is this message being driven home in these areas? Because at the end of the day, I mean, it is some sort of it's more regional, South Kashmir centric in a sense.
Absolutely. I think bulk of this militancy was in South Kashmir. And in fact, as soon as this operation started, internet services in South Kashmir was cut down. Mobile services were cut down and this attack took place. What is important is that this message is going to the youth of Kashmir that if you pick up the gun, you will end up in an unmarked grave somewhere.
Yes.
Now, if this message goes down, this would do a lot to dissuade them. This coupled with effective governance in Jammu and Kashmir would actually completely seal the insurgency. As we always know that South Kashmir has been the far more volatile region. The insurgency has been far more active in South Kashmir as compared to North Kashmir, which has been relatively quiet in recent past. So South Kashmir, I think this sort of a message is going on. We have had too many operations in recent past. Today itself, as you said, 4 terrorists have been eliminated.
Yes.
I think that message is going that despite coronavirus scare across the globe and in India, the security forces are not letting up their vigil. We are alert and we are ready to eliminate anyone. And I think this message has gone. And this is one of the reasons why I think Pakistan's ISPR also came up and made a statement, no, we are not trying to. So they have also realized that they have a heavy price to pay. And that is what I think they are realizing. And I think they are realizing that no way is Indian security forces going to allow this sort of an incidents of terrorism continue in the valley. And I think that message is going. And as General Hasnan said,
yes,
rightly, what is even more important is that the nationalist elements who are numerous but were silent because of the fear of the gun would feel emboldened to come out and support the government, support the nation in a more loud manner, which they have not been able to do because of the fear of the gun.
Right.
As the gun gets eliminated, I think these elements will come out and support government initiatives, government programs. And,
right. And the Prime Minister, Dr. Hasnan, General Hasnan, the Prime Minister did mention in the NAM summit, he talked about, fake videos, doctored videos, fake news, also about issues about terrorism that are coming in from India's western neighbor. During this period of time when COVID-19, when the world should be, united in this fight against COVID-19. And we, the Chief of Defense Staff spoke exclusively to us just 2 days ago, and he said that we always expect these sort of things from Pakistan at all times, so that we are never letting our guard down as far as Pakistan is concerned. So when we look at the situation as things stand, we look at Pakistan, as trying to take advantage of any kind of situation to try and destabilize India. What do you think? I mean, is this a message out to them as well?
One thing is very clear, that from the 5th of August till about March or early April, Kashmir was stable. There was an absence of violence. I will not call it complete normalcy, but there was an absence of violence. Obviously, with the COVID-19 trigger having taken off and India coming into the throes of that also, Pakistan was sensing an opportunity. As it is, they were wanting to up the ante as far as the coming spring, in the spring season or the coming summer was concerned. And they found that this was the opportunity to do it. It commenced on the 1st of April with that infiltration attempt in which we unfortunately lost 5 of our SF men, but 5 of the terrorists were eliminated. And then we found the events happening 3 days ago in Handwara. But what most people need to do is to piece together the fact that in the month of April, we have had 16 operations and we killed 30 terrorists in the month of April. Obviously, Pakistan was attempting to do something much bigger. And the information game, which the Prime Minister spoke about in the NAM, while speaking to the leaders of the NAM, it was clear that this has been a part of the comprehensive Pakistani effort. not only on ground and pushing in terrorists, not only upping the ante in the hinterland, but also upping the entire social media campaign to try and bring about greater alienation among the people. They knew very clearly that most options for Pakistan have run out, and now this is the time when they need to retry and attempt to regain the initiative once again. Unfortunately, they have not succeeded in doing it.
Okay, I'll get the final word in from Alok Bansal. You know, this cannot be looked at in isolation, Mr. Bansal. We see it as, you know, another piece in an overall strategy which, you know, we can even date back to the surgical strikes. And we have a comprehensive approach here, and we can see that, you know, as we go further and further, terrorism is being eliminated from Jammu and Kashmir. Would that be the message?
Undoubtedly, terrorism is being eliminated, and what is important is the ISI's strategy of not only nurturing terrorism, but as General Hasnain said, of dividing communities in India. In fact, the vicious social media campaign which ISI is running and circulating in Middle East and many other parts of the world has actually been exposed, and ISI's strategy as far as fermenting trouble for India in Kashmir Valley as well as rest of India has actually been exposed. And I think with elimination of Riyaz Naikoo, Indian security forces have achieved a big victory, and a big signal has gone to the youth in Kashmir. And this, I think, is a very, very important nail as far as the coffin of insurgency in Kashmir is concerned.
Mr. Alok Bansal and General Atta Hasnain, thank you very much for joining us here on News Night. Moving on to our next story then. The railways have run 122 Shramik special trains since May 1 up to Wednesday evening, and they ferried home over 1.25 lakh migrants who are stranded in various parts of the country because of COVID-19, because of the lockdown. And Railways now plans to run more trains. Every special train has 24 coaches, and each has a capacity of 72 seats. So the Railways are running special Shramik trains, as we said, on the request from concerned state governments, and this is to send and receive stranded persons. The Railways and the state governments have been appointing nodal officers for coordination and the smooth operation of these facilities. The Railways and the passengers, they have to mandatorily wear face masks, also to follow social distancing norms, and also other precautions have to be taken. So the stranded laborers and students from different parts of the country, they continue to go back home on the Shramik trains. In Bihar, a train brought home 1,300 passengers from Telangana, and as per the procedure, they were accommodated in quarantine centers after their arrival post-screening at the station for symptoms. Our correspondent Salman Haider has this report.
A train has arrived at Khagadia carrying 1,300 passengers from Telangana. People, mainly laborers and students, are coming into Bihar at various stations like Saharsa, Katihar, Khagadia and other places. Their plight is yet to end, as they will be quarantined at their home blocks near their villages at designated buildings for the sake of safety. But at least they are home. With camera person Mukesh, this is Salman Haider, DD News, Patna.
Well, the biggest ever evacuation exercise by air and sea will begin tomorrow, and we'll bring back around 15,000 Indians stranded abroad. This is the Vande Bharat mission. 64 flights will be flying between Indian cities and 12 foreign countries, and bringing back 14,800 people in the first phase. On the first day of the evacuation plan, which begins on the 7th of May, 10 flights will be operated. 2 flights from UAE and 1 flight each from Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UK, Singapore, Malaysia, USA, Philippines and Bangladesh will bring in approximately 2,300 Indians stranded in these countries due to COVID-19. Overall, 14,800 Indians will be airlifted during the first phase. Now let's get a closer look, we'll take a closer look at the work that's going into all this. The Indian consulate in Dubai, before the first flight takes off on Thursday from the UAE. Here's our correspondent Kanchan Prasad with her report.
This is the operation rooms in Dubai for COVID-19 repatriation of those Indians who are in extreme distress, mostly the blue-collared workers and the pregnant women, those who are unwell, the elderly, and others who are in need of immediate repatriation. As you can see in the background, a lot of these people, along with the Indian consulate officials, are Indian community volunteers who are working to help prepare the list and facilitate in the repatriation of the distressed Indians in the special flights which are going to run for the next 1 week.
And the Indian Navy has launched Operation Samudra Setu as part of the national effort to repatriate Indian citizens from overseas. The Indian naval ships Jalashwa and Magar are deployed, and this operation will in fact bring back the stranded Indians. There are going to be close to 1,000 passengers who will be brought back starting from the 8th of this month. As part of phase 1, the naval ships will facilitate their embarkation and also after requisite screening takes place. 2 ships of the Indian Navy have been deployed to repatriate around 2,000 stranded Indian nationals from the Maldives, and they will be brought back to Kochi and Tuticorin. The Indian High Commissioner to the Maldives, Sanjay Sudhir, has termed this the biggest evacuation exercise of its kind from the neighboring country.
In the wake of COVID-19 pandemic, Government of India has launched its biggest ever global evacuation operation. For Maldives also, the evacuation we will witness in the next few days and weeks will be the largest in our history. I'm grateful to Indian Navy to launch Operation Samudra Setu to evacuate close to 2,000 Indians through a virtual sea bridge from Maldives to Kochi and Tuticorin. INS Jalashwa and INS Magar have already been deployed for this purpose. The evacuation will be in 2 phases with 2 ships, first evacuating Indians to Kochi, followed by evacuation to Tuticorin. We are giving top priority to medical cases, to women and those who have lost their jobs. The evacuation exercise will be a big relief for Indians who have been yearning to join up with their families in India.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi had a telephonic conversation with Dr. Abiy Ahmed Ali, the Prime Minister of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia. The Prime Minister recalled the close ties between India and Ethiopia and the excellent development partnership between the 2 countries. Both leaders discussed domestic, regional and global challenges posed by COVID-19 pandemic and expressed solidarity with each other during the health crisis. The Prime Minister assured Dr. Abiy Ahmed Ali of India's support to Ethiopia for ensuring supplies of essential medicines and ameliorating the economic impact of the pandemic. The Prime Minister, on behalf of the people of India and on his own behalf, also wished the people of Ethiopia success in the fight against COVID-19. Prime Minister Narendra Modi shall be participating in the Buddha Purnima celebrations on Thursday, the 7th of May 2020. The Ministry of Culture, the Government of India, in collaboration with the International Buddhist Confederation, a global Buddhist umbrella organization, is holding a virtual prayer event with the participation of all the supreme heads of the Buddhist Sanghas from around the world. And Prime Minister will be delivering the keynote address in the morning. Buddha Purnima celebrations are being held through a virtual Vesak Day, and this is owing to the impact of COVID-19 pandemic across the globe. So the event is being organized in honor of the victims and the frontline warriors of COVID-19. Prayer ceremonies on the occasion will be streamed live from Nepal's Lumbini, India's Bodh Gaya, Sarnath, Kushinagar, Sri Lanka's Anuradhapura Stupa premises, apart from other popular Buddhist sites. Union Ministers Prahlad Singh Patel and Kiren Rijiju will be participating in the event. Vesak Buddha Purnima is considered the triple blessed day as Tathagatha Gautama Buddha's birth, enlightenment and Mahaparinirvana. Now, apart from getting people to their homes, the Indian Railways has also been playing a very important role in transporting goods across the country. So the parcel trains especially have been crucial in maintaining the supply chains during the lockdown. Parcel trains have loaded over 54,000 tons of consignments since the start of the lockdown. And this has brought revenues of nearly 20 crore rupees to the Indian Railways. Over 2,000 parcel trains have run up to the 5th of May, out of which 1,988 are timetable trains. The Ministry of Railways, Commerce and Industry, the Minister in fact, has recently held a meeting to bring e-commerce and logistics companies closer to the railways. The Indian Railways have also made parcel vans available for quick transportation of essential items in small parcel sizes to supplement the supply chain during the lockdown. 465 flights have been operated under Lifeline Udan by Air India, Alliance Air, the Indian Air Force and private carriers. 278 of these flights have been operated by Air India and Alliance Air. Cargo transported till date is around 835.94 tons. Aerial distance covered by Lifeline Udan flights till date is over 4,51,038 kilometers. Lifeline Udan flights are being operated by the Ministry of Civil Aviation to transport essential medical cargo to all parts of the country, including remote and hilly areas, to support India's war against COVID-19. Also, helicopter services, including Pavan Hans Limited, have been operating in Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh, as well as northeast regions, in some island places as well, and transporting critical medical cargo to patients. Pavan Hans, till the 5th of May, had carried about 2.27 tons of cargo, covering a distance of 7,729 kilometers. Special focus has been on the northeast, the island territories and the hill states. Air India and the Indian Air Force collaborated primarily for Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh, also for the northeast and other island regions. So the cargo air bridge was established with East Asia or transportation of pharmaceuticals, medical equipment and COVID-19 relief material. The Union Road Transport Minister Nitin Gadkari has stated that the government will try to resume bus transport based on some new guidelines, and he said that there's a need to resume transport services as people are stranded. Now coming through to
एक बार आपको बधाई देता हूं। जल्दी ही पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट में बस ट्रांसपोर्ट कुछ गाइडलाइंस के आधार पर शुरू करने का प्रयास सरकार के द्वारा होगा। ये भी कोशिश हम करेंगे क्योंकि एयरलाइंस, रेलवे और बस ट्रांसपोर्ट ये कुछ प्रमाण में शुरू करने की आवश्यकता भी है। काफ़ी लोग इधर उधर के अटके हुए हैं, तो मुझे लगता है ये भी करना होगा। मैं आपको यही कहूँगा कि हिम्मत के साथ हम लड़ेंगे, आत्मविश्वास के साथ आगे जाएंगे, निराशा मत रखिए, निगेटिविटी मत रखिए और इस संकट से हम उभर कर बाहर आएंगे और निश्चित रूप से विजय होंगे।
Coming true to its name, the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan package has proved to be a big boon to the poor and downtrodden during the lockdown period. According to data released by the centre, around 39 crore poor people have received financial assistance of 34,800 crore rupees under the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana. And this is as of the 5th of May 2020. So as part of PMGKP, as it's being called, the government announced free food grains and cash payment to women and poor senior citizens and farmers. Various ministries are leaving no stone unturned to ensure that the relief measures reach the needy swiftly and in line with the intent of the lockdown. The PMGKP has been announced by the Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. She did so on the 26th of March to protect people from the impact of the lockdown due to COVID-19. The developers of the Arogya Setu app, they've issued a statement saying that there was no security vulnerability in the contact tracing application. In a statement issued on Twitter, Arogya Setu said that they are continuously testing and upgrading the systems and no personal information of any user has been proven to be at risk. The team assured everyone that no data or security breach has been identified. The government has mandated public sector and private employees who go to offices to download the app, as also people who are in the containment zone, localized areas where there is a COVID-19 positive case detected. The Arogya Setu app has started an IVRS, interactive voice response service, that is. One can get a missed call given, and this is to a toll-free number, which is 1921. They can track the latest data about COVID-19. The IVRS the call will then check for the symptoms based on that, and the voice calls will be in 11 Indian languages, and it will in fact make use of the interactive voice response system, that's IVRS, from the central helpline number, which is 1921. The Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan held a review meeting on COVID-19 situation with officials of Gujarat and Maharashtra, did so via video conference. Speaking to these officials, the Health Minister said that the situation in both the states is a matter of concern, as 34 out of 36 districts are affected by COVID-19 in Maharashtra. Dr. Harshvardhan.
निश्चित रूप से महाराष्ट्र भारत के उन प्रांतों में से एक है जो हम सबके लिए भी थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा चिंता का विषय बना हुआ है, क्योंकि यहाँ पर 36 हमारे ज़िलों में से 34 ज़िले जो हैं वो कोरोना के प्रकोप से प्रभावित हैं। 14,541 केस हो चुके हैं, 583 मृत्यु हो चुकी है। हमें अंततोगत्वा उस स्थिति में पहुंचना है जब हमारे सारे ज़िले एक दिन ग्रीन जोन बनेंगे और वहां पर 21 दिन 28 दिन से कोई भी केस नहीं आया होगा। ये हमारे सबके सम्मिलित और संगठित प्रयास से और मनोयोग से संभव हो पाएगा।
Well, the Health Minister also assured Gujarat and Maharashtra of all possible help to deal with the situation. He said that the centre is trying to help the two state governments in all respects possible.
महाराष्ट्र की स्थिति है और गुजरात की स्थिति है, उसमें हम लोगों को भी थोड़ा सा चिंता है ज़्यादा, क्योंकि वहाँ तकलीफ़ थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा है। वहाँ के प्रशासन अपनी तरफ से पूरा प्रयास कर रहे हैं, लेकिन भारत सरकार का ये प्रयास है कि हम जितनी भी सहायता स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स की कर सकते हैं, टेक्निकली मैन पावर की दृष्टि से, एडवाइस की दृष्टि से, एक्सपर्ट्स के कंट्रीब्यूशन की दृष्टि से वो करें।
And the BJP leader Shahnawaz Hussain has continued to slam the Congress party for its politics over the corona pandemic.
कोरोना के खिलाफ लड़ाई में पूरी दुनिया एकजुट होकर लड़ रही है। भारत भी कोरोना के खिलाफ लड़ाई में एकजुट होकर उस लड़ाई को लड़ रहा है, लेकिन कांग्रेस पार्टी इसके अंदर भी सियासत कर रही है। राहुल जी, सोनिया जी और मनमोहन सिंह जी रोज एक नया सवाल खड़ा कर देते हैं, और जिस तरह का सवाल खड़ा करते हैं उन सब सवालों का जवाब पहले से दिया जा चुका है। इसलिए कांग्रेस से अनुरोध है कि कम से कम सियासत कोरोना के मुद्दे पर न करे, क्योंकि 135 करोड़ हिंदुस्तानी को कोरोना से बचाने के लिए एक बड़ी लड़ाई प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में सारे मुख्यमंत्री को विश्वास में लेकर लड़ी जा रही है, और इस लड़ाई को कमजोर करने का अधिकार कांग्रेस को नहीं है।
And the Uttar Pradesh cabinet has approved a new ordinance which entails stringent punishment for attacking corona warriors. This new ordinance says that if a person is found guilty, he or she may be paying a fine of up to 5 lakh rupees as penalty and facing 7 years of imprisonment.
एक अलग से अध्यादेश इस बात का लाया जा रहा है कि इसमें पूरी तरीके से उनको प्रोटेक्शन दिया जाए। डॉक्टर्स, पैरामेडिकल स्टाफ, नर्सेज, सफाई कर्मचारी और जितने भी कोरोना वायरस के रूप में इसमें संलग्न है, सभी लोगों को ये प्रोटेक्शन इस अध्यादेश के माध्यम से मिलेगा। और ये जब तक ये महामारी अधिनियम लागू रहेगा तब तक उनको ये विशेषाधिकार प्राप्त होगा।
And in Gujarat, all shops in the city of Ahmedabad will remain closed starting from Thursday, except milk and medicine shops. Fruits, vegetables and grocery shops will remain closed as well. Now, and these restrictions will remain in force till the 15th of May. The decision comes amid the deteriorating corona situation over there. Well, let's now take a look at the latest numbers of COVID-19 cases from across the country. So the total confirmed cases are 49,391, of which active cases, we can see them on our screen, 33,514. Those who have been discharged after being cured, 14,182. 1,694 people have succumbed and have died as a result of COVID-19, and one person has migrated after being discharged to another country. So these are the figures, as we did say. The total of 1,694 people have lost their lives. Maharashtra continues to be the hardest hit state with a total of 15,525 cases. Gujarat has reported 6,245 cases and 5,104 cases have been reported in the national capital, Delhi. And on the global scenario, well, that's not a good sign at all. The latest data on some of the countries. Let's see, the United States have fared pretty badly on the COVID meter. We've prepared this graphical presentation for you. Let's take a look. And Bangladesh continues to see a sharp increase in corona-positive cases. The total number of corona cases has crossed 11,000 in our eastern neighbor. The first evacuation will take place on the 8th of May. Rajesh Jha gets us this report from Dhaka.
The spread of coronavirus in Bangladesh continues to grow. Till now, more than 11,700 people have been infected by the coronavirus in the country. 790 new corona-positive cases were reported over the last 24 hours. On Wednesday, 3 more people died in the last 24 hours, taking the death toll to 186. The general holidays in Bangladesh have also been extended till May 16th. Most of the government and private offices are closed. Public transport services are also suspended. However, in view of the serious economic challenges, Bangladesh is gradually opening up some crucial sectors in the country. It has announced that from May 10th, the shops and malls will open from 10 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon to facilitate the Eid-related buying. While allowing the shops and malls to open, they have been given instructions to follow the health directives issued by the government. The malls are required to provide for hand sanitizers and maintain social distancing in view of the corona outbreak in the country. Government has also announced that banks will now open for longer hours. Earlier, they were opening till 1 p.m., but from May 10th, they will be open for business till 2:30 in the afternoon. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina had announced on Monday that small and cottage enterprises in districts will also be allowed to open. In the meanwhile, Government of India on Tuesday announced that it will bring back its citizens stranded in Bangladesh by chartered flights. The Civil Aviation Ministry announced 7 flights will be operated from Dhaka to evacuate 1,400 Indian nationals willing to return back to India. Rajesh Jha, DD News, Dhaka.
And coronavirus cases in Russia also continue to surge. The outbreak is taking hold of many regions outside Moscow as well. And the fear is that hospitals will not be able to cope. Lucy Taylor reports from Moscow.
The number of confirmed cases has risen by more than 10,000 across Russia for the 4th day in a row, showing no signs of a slow in the number of confirmed infections and taking the total on Wednesday to more than 165,000 across the country. There is one small glimmer of hope in that the number of deaths remain relatively low, just 1,537 deaths in total, which is much lower as a proportion of confirmed cases than other countries around the world, if those figures prove to be accurate. The Russian government says that the reason for its high number of cases is that it's doing very widespread testing. But nonetheless, there are those who are concerned that it suggests that the authorities are not yet in control of the outbreak.
And let's take a look at what else is making news around the world. And the United States and the United Kingdom have launched formal negotiations on a free trade agreement. A deal could counter the massive drag on the coronavirus pandemic on trade flows and also economies of the two countries. The talks will be conducted virtually and involve over 300 US and UK staff and officials in nearly 30 negotiating groups. The United Kingdom has drawn up a 3-stage plan to ease the coronavirus lockdown that was first imposed at the end of March. The Times newspaper reported that phase 1 will involve small shops reopening alongside outdoor workplaces. The second will involve large shopping centers reopening with more people encouraged to go into work. Pubs, restaurants, hotels and leisure centers will be among the last to open. New York's subway, New York City's subway system took the unprecedented step of halting overnight service to clean the trains. The subway system closed between 1 a.m. and 5 a.m., allowing the crews to disinfect the trains. The United Nations is worried about the condition of some prisons in the American region and chronic overcrowding, unhygienic conditions, coupled with a lack of proper access to healthcare. This has enabled the rapid spread of COVID-19 in many facilities, penitentiaries in the United States. 2,000 out of 2,700 inmates have tested positive for COVID-19. Pope Francis has said that employers must respect the dignity of workers, particularly migrants who face economic hardship because of the coronavirus. The Pope delivered his message from the Papal Library instead of St. Peter's Square because of the lockdown in Italy. And he says that he receives numerous messages about labor problems. He did so on May 1, the day that most countries celebrate Workers' Day. Also, many farm workers in Italy are migrants. Taiwan's health minister asked the World Health Organization to ensure that it had access to the first-hand information about the coronavirus. Taiwan's exclusion from WHO due to China's objections, which considers the island one of the provinces of China, has infuriated Taipei, which says that this has created a gap in the global fight against the coronavirus. Classes resumed for the final year high school students in Wuhan in China. Local schools are required to enforce strict social distancing measures such as temperature checks and limiting the number of students in each classroom to 25. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez told the country's legislature that the spread of coronavirus was being controlled. He looks set to secure enough votes to extend the emergency by 2 more weeks. The decree will be the 4th 2-week extension to the state of emergency, which Sanchez says is necessary to restrict movement. And that's all the news we could bring you, pack it together, in fact, for you in News Night tonight. Thanks for being with us. Namaskar.